welcome to the next podcast. This is Mark Visconi with Ireb Resistance Radio. With me today, I've got Marcus Fiesel from our leadership team as well, and another Indivisible, but not from our group, someone from down south of us, Lorianne Clark. She also ran a courageous race in 21A. Down there. And so we've got everyone here. We're going to talk a little bit about the race, a little bit about the election, and a little bit about the release of Indivisible 2.0 tonight. Welcome, guys. Marcus and Lori, I'm so glad to have you guys here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Lori. The reason why I asked you to come on is you're already posting. I mean, you fought your race and you're already backing out. There's the dogs. She warned me that there might be barking. I have dogs too. So, so she, ran that race, and then like the next day, you're right back in the saddle. You're an Indivisible organizer. You're one of my favorite candidates in the last election cycle for that. Coming up through the ranks and whatnot. And I was really pulling for you along the way. But you're running in a tough place, and we've got a lot of work to do down there. So what are you thinking? What do you want to say about that?
Yeah, well, that's, pretty much, I think, what everybody down in Indivisible Cannon Falls was thinking. They wanted to get together on our typical Thursday night meeting on the 8th, and they wanted to debrief the race no matter what happened, but also, the big picture. We were very proud of all of the accomplishments in CD2. When we thought of the reasons that we came together in Indivisible Cannon Falls in 2016, it was to flip the House. It was to make sure that we had Democratic leadership in the state of Minnesota. And when we looked at, those broad strokes, we accomplished everything that we wanted to do. Because remember, in 2016, I wasn't planning exactly on running for, Minnesota House myself. And so we were really, really proud of even the gains. For example, Angie gained at least, I think, about 5 points down here.
Yeah.
She didn't take it. And I know when she called me the night after the election, she said, I said, it's the townships. The townships are just so rich. She goes, yeah. She goes, but she did recognize that she had made some gains. And that's how, that's how we're going to win in all the little places. When you can lose less in the areas where you don't normally win, and then you pick up in Dakota where you guys did awesome work, that's what flips it over, and that's what allowed her to win. And, that's where everybody's efforts do make a difference in the big picture.
Yeah, we saw some fantastic numbers of involvement this year. The party they were just gushing. They couldn't believe the number of people that were showing up for everything. They're like, oh my God, there's people everywhere for stuff. And so, and I think that's a testament to the work that we did. We've been out here banging the drum for a couple of years, getting people interested, stirring the pot, and it really showed in the final weeks. I mean, there was so much energy, and we just killed it. And with all due respect to the candidates that didn't make it, you helped us get the ones that did make it over the top, and man, we did it in big fashion here in Minnesota. I woke up the morning after 2016, and I was so, November after Trump got elected, I was so sad. My God, America was gone. I honestly, and I still do believe the kind of attack that we're under, but we now have an ability to fight back. We have a House of Congress back. We took that back from them, and nobody would have thought we were going to be able to do this. That's what's fantastic. Yeah.
And the amazing part, too, when you look at it, it wasn't just Indivisible. It was, Progressive We Stand. It was Moms Demand Action. It was Swing Left. It was, just progressive group after progressive group all over the country that stepped up and did amazing things. Look at the youth and David Hogg and that whole group. And they're not going to go away. That's the amazing part. If we're smart enough, and this is what I love, the one thing I'm going to say to all the volunteers, because, down in Red Wing, we were killing expectations too. We had just as many new people walking in the door that Carissa and Aiden were like, yeah, we've got all our cheers calling. We've called, we phone bank so much, we got to cut new lists. We were having great numbers. And I said to everybody, 2019 is not an off year. There is no such thing as an off year anymore. And this is what I do love about, like I told you, I did listen to the national call from Indivisible this afternoon. And what I love is, they've got this solid offensive plan. And, whether it's us or every other group, we don't back down. We don't stop. We go on offense. And, and that's how we're going to take the Senate too.
Yeah, we are. We're going to take the Senate, both the state Senate and the federal Senate. We've got so much momentum right now. And what I like, and you referred to the Indivisible plan, and Marcus, jump in if you want to. We're just kind of jumping all over the place here, but yeah. I watched the video last night, and actually it was kind of cool on the call, because Ira was on his way to the interview with Rachel, and he was calling us to check in. But it's really exciting. I mean, to think about where we come and where we've gone. And now I've read through both of the documents today, and they're very sound. They're very solid. They need some work, but they're actually talking about it. And I've been in contact. Tim is our local guy. You've met Tim, haven't you, Lori?
Actually, I don't think I have, so I need to get up and meet him sometime. Yeah,
so he's been in the area. I don't know if he's still going to be, but they've been kind of paying attention. I honestly have to believe that we are some sort of a statistical hotspot. When you take a look at the number of state house seats we flipped, they said in the call 300 across the country. Well, there's 435. Congressional districts in America, and we flipped 7 of the 300 here. I mean, we overperformed, our expectation by about a 10-fold margin. So something happened, and you're talking about all the groups, we had so much great progressive energy in this area down in CD2. And so I just, somebody's got to look at that and realize there's the key. That's why I got involved. It's like, why are we losing these races? Why are these things so razor thin? I mean, aside from, gerrymandering and all that. And it's, you got to take a look and see, what are the things that are getting people out to vote? And I think we hit on something here.
Yeah.
And I think we need to share our experiences and sort of make a library of the things that worked well that we did, and a library also of the things that didn't work well. And I think we need to do that before we forget what we did. So this is something we have to work on very soon.
I agree. I think it's a great idea.
Has Ireb done a debrief yet?
So we had a leadership meeting the other night it was just kind of a fun thing, get together at a restaurant, and we just kind of sat and talked a little bit. But no, we haven't really tried to capture what we've learned yet, and that's something that's really important, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we did learn a lot. I mean, a ton of things. And I was thinking about that the other day, just the simplest things like where to go to hold a meeting and how to hold meetings and who to contact for things and what stuff costs and, just how to organize in your community. I mean, we could do anything. I mean, candidates call us and we set stuff up. I mean, we've really matured in a lot of ways that, over the long haul, you don't really see the slow creep. But at the end of the day, you look back and you go, because I was going through some of the pictures of Ireb, actually, and when you talk about a debrief, I was trying to pull together some photos to do a kind of a collage of photos for the entry or intro to this, and I started pulling it, and I had forgotten all of the things, and I know you guys have been busy as heck too down at Cannon Falls. The number of things that we've done, the different types, like I said earlier, it's like that slow, steady drum beat that we've been beating for 2 years, just, keeping people awake and alerting them to what's going on, and that, there is a way to fix this. And that's part of it. It's been pretty amazing.
Or being able to say, hey, this is going on. Who can be there? And boom, you've got 25 people that can show up, or 50 or 100, and that's something I see down here. I was talking earlier about the townships or the towns. It's, do we know who the people are? And what we have right now is just a very small group from Cannon Falls and Red Wing and Montemigo and Welch and Vesa that have been active. But what happened with all the volunteers that did come through the doors in Red Wing is that we have all these new names and people who did say that they wanted to be involved and get in touch. And so now we have to figure out how to pull them in and continue to do those connection things. And it's all the organizations that, even as a candidate, you think you have all this time to meet up with all these organizations, and you find out very quickly that doesn't happen. You run out of time very fast. But that's why, 2019 is the year to make those connections and build and find those, it's even one of the gentlemen in our Indivisible Candidate Followers group is very active with Isaiah and all the training that they're putting out right now about just having conversations in people's homes and being able to have a dialogue or a discussion and finding those common ground places. Well, out here, you really need to be able to do that. And one thing I really notice campaigning is when you're talking with someone one-on-one, you can find common ground pretty quick. But if you're in a group, if you're in a group of 3 to 5 people, now that peer pressure, that social peer pressure kicks in. And all of a sudden, if they know all their neighbors are, let's say, Trumpsters or red, they are very hesitant to consider different viewpoints because that social peer pressure kicks in. And that doesn't happen when you're having one-on-one conversations. So there's even those types of things. You can think having a big, living room discussion could be a great idea, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes the best thing to do is those one-on-one small conversations, because then you can have real conversations that you don't have in the big groups where, maybe all the farmers, they all think they're all, a certain way, and they don't want to be the person that admits that maybe they don't feel that way anymore.
I got to ask you a question. So that's been the kind of thing that nags me, where the best conversations are being held. I don't know that it's always at someone's doorstep. Where did you have what you felt were your best conversations?
Well, I would have them sometimes at the doorstep, but it would really depend, on when it was. Sometimes the best conversations I'd have would be with the Republican men in their garage. If they weren't at the door, but they were in their garage and they were working, and now we were standing and talking, it wasn't like, okay, you get 3 minutes at the door and then I'm going to close the door. Okay. We were out in the garage and, standing there talking or whatever, and there wasn't this rush to shut the door or something.
Garage logic.
Yeah.
I love it.
Something like that. But that's a different setting than me at the door and they, want to shut that door versus they were doing something in the garage or I walked up or whatever and, they're just kind of doing their thing. But now we're having a conversation.
That's awesome. I love that. That's a great takeaway, because I was out door knocking one day and some guy, he heard me, I was at the doorstep of one house and he could tell what we were talking about, obviously. And it was a townhouse, so he was right next door. He opens up his garage door and just kind of stands there and looks at me as this Trump flag slowly gets revealed from the, he wasn't on my list. So I just kind of walked by and just kind of smiled at him. But, I should have stopped.
I never did that. I will say. So I disagreed with the DFL strategy on that. Very quickly, I decided when I walked a neighborhood, I knocked on every door. And the reason I did that is because I hit enough doors in which it was clearly a very strong DFL person and they were not on my list. And I had too many very strong Republicans who were on my list. Even on the very last weekend, I had, when I'm supposed to be getting out the vote in what's supposed to be my 1s and 2s, I had people refuse me at the door. I had people come back and say that they were very clearly very strong Republicans. So I did not trust the man, and for a lot of different reasons. And so, and if someone was outside, I never walked away. I always made a point of saying hi because I'm walking right by them.
Yeah.
It's like I couldn't give up that opportunity to just say, hey, you need to vote for me.
Well, and actually I do have some suggestions for the party, with regards to that too. I don't know a lot about the Vance. I don't want to speak out of school, but from what I gathered so far, it could be better. And so I think, that's something that, technologically, I do like technology. I work in it. Technologically, I could see the party improving a lot of the things that they do. And so, I'm hoping for an opportunity to give voice to that down the road to help us get better. I think one thing I saw coming in, we were the Indivisible. We had to take a look at our direct competitor, which was the Tea Party, and the things that they were doing. And those guys are very data driven. They have good data analytics and they know how to use it. And I think we're behind them. And I think that's something we've got the numbers. We can turn the people out like we proved in this election. But if we want to be more selective, if we want to really, if we want to win the Lori-Ann Clark races, we got to know what we're doing.
Exactly. And we have to know, in that township, we have to know who are the 20 Dems that we can call up that know their neighbors and know who's potentially livable and who's not. Who's
historically taken a sign for the Democrats in that area.
Exactly. I thought I did hear that Indivisible, the national organization, was looking at buying access to the van.
Yeah, so they're giving us all access. So the organizers, we're getting access. And so what we're doing is we're going to create a van that we're going to share with candidates. And we're going to gain all that tribal knowledge, and we're going to build that's what the plan is to build a version of it, because it's just a database. You get the raw data out, public records, and then you create your own, like little notes on the different accounts, so the accounts a little bit better. Yeah, and so they're going to try to do one because the candidate, and you're a candidate, and I don't want to put you in a spot about this type of topic, but one of the complaints I've heard about the van is there's a lot of knowledge gained by a candidate that's not shared to the next candidate.
Oh, absolutely. And there are candidates who don't enter info back into the van. And that is one of the challenges. One of the things, for example, it can be hard whether you're doing it by a survey question or an activist code to actually go back in and enter that information. For example, when we did Hustle, so we did Hustle for my campaign, which means I think we pulled down like 6,700 cell phone numbers or home numbers. And so, of course, we got a whole bunch of, this isn't, Sue anymore, or this is a wrong number or whatever. And if we don't push that information from Hustle back into the van, then we don't update all those records and all that information. And that's very, very important that we do that.
Right. So the next person coming along isn't making that same phone call that you just made and wasting that time and effort. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, so there's things we can fix, but getting back to the good stuff is we did do pretty good, and Indivisible, I think, has got this awesome plan. We're pivoting to this 2.0, and they came out with both the guides, the federal level guide and the state level guide. And we kind of touched on the state level. We kind of got that nailed where we're going to keep working there. But the federal level, I really like their approach now. So HR1 is going to be about, get big money out of politics, unrig the system, let's end the gerrymandering, let's fix stuff. And they're talking about it right now. Our Angie Craig has already been hearing about this bill. And actually, according to the call, there are already actually congressmen that are saying, I can't go quite that strong. Baloney, we're pushing for this thing, and we can, and of course, one of the things is that this is, it's going to be a tough battle to get something like this. But the one point that they do make is the type of transition that we're in right now. If we can go in and make some noise with HR1, and Ireb is going to be out, and I want to make an announcement of that. I've already scheduled our event, January 3rd. We're going to have a very public event in support of this. But if we can, if this thing doesn't make it through this Congress, we damn well will get it through the next one. When we've got the White House and we've got the Senate, and it's going to be the first order of business, and we will unrig our system. And I am so excited to get that taken care of.
Yeah.
So so we've got the two approaches, the state and the federal level approaches. Win more state houses. We can apply more pressure on Trump from the state level, and we've kind of known that all along. I mean, when we organized it, with Ireb, we knew that we could send people to the door because we organized primarily around Angie Craig. That was kind of our main reason for coming into existence, was to get that congressional district seat. But then we said, wait a minute, we've got some great House seats here, and we only had 3 at the time when we started. We've got 11 now. I mean, oh my God, we just, it was pretty awesome. So,
and I think at some point, I hopefully will even take another step back. Out here, it's the school boards, it's the city councils, it's the county commissioners. We actually had 3 fabulous women in Red Wing win city council seats this year. And all of them kind of had gotten tapped into Indivisible Cannon Falls and were supported by our teams, because, Cannon Falls, I know we're named Cannon Falls, but we're really kind of Cannon Falls, Red Wing, in the whole area.
Right.
And that was a very big deal to us. And we noted, for example, 2 Goodhue County commissioners ran unopposed this year. But we've got some that are coming up that are very right-leaning, and we want some people to go up against them. We need to fill the pipeline just like the GOP does.
Yes.
We cannot play checkers. It's not just about the next election. It's chess.
It's building the bench.
Picture strategy. It's building the bench, building the pipeline, and big picture strategy. That's what we need to be doing.
We never give anything up. We have to challenge everything. We have to go after everything. When we have to look at all the races, there are no races that are unimportant. You know, we've had an emphasis on that with Ireb too. Is, you know, those city council. Oh, I was so happy to see there was that Tea Party candidate that was running for Egan City Council. He's run like 3 times now. You know, and he just puts his signs up. He doesn't knock doors because nobody, you know, would vote for him if they talked to him. And, you know, he just hopes that he can get in and start burning things down. I mean, you know, we have to be on guard for that. We got to ferret these people out wherever they are. And that's our role in Indivisible. You know, there's a lot of people that are, you know, there are a lot of different reasons they get into politics. We're here to unrig stuff. I mean, you know, get rid of Trump, unrig stuff. Let's get America back on track. I am so happy with you know, we did a good job the first 2 years, and now we've got a new mandate and a little bit of leverage. And, you know, I think the next 2 years are going to be a little bit more exciting. We can, especially here in Minnesota, where we're going to hold town halls and our congressional representatives probably going to show up.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And the Senate, even here in Minnesota, will be interesting because, of course, you know, it's right there right now. It's pretty much almost a tie. And so we're going to have some options, and those are not going to be easy. You know, for example, you know, Senate District 21, not an easy race down here at all. And it's going to be like that in a lot of districts. But that's also where, you know, if we can plan a little bit better in 2019, have some solid candidates who now understand that they really do have a team that's willing to work behind them. I mean, regardless of the outcome of my campaign, I have said it so many times, it was not the DFL party that asked me to run. It was Indivisible Cannon Falls, and they were behind me the whole way. And that's huge, okay?
That's community.
Yeah.
At that point, I think it would be appropriate for me to express my gratitude, Lorianne, for running in such a red district. I think it takes a lot more guts to do that than running in a contested place. So I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, you're a hero. You are. And you were one of my heroes throughout the entire race. You were one of my favorite candidates. And honestly, God, you were the one I wanted the most. It was the one I wanted to win the most. But, you know, I knew, reality, you were running a tough race, and you're a soldier. You went down there and you ran the race. And thank you. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yes. And, you know, that's what we're going to be asking a lot of people to do in 2022. And so we need to be behind them and be supporting them. You know, some of us are going to be willing to run more than once. Some people are going to say, no, I'm done. But regardless, what we do have, if anything more than now, we have a process and a system where we can see this is how we can win. Okay. And I think that makes a huge difference for anybody who wants to step up. You know, I did the Vote Run Lead training. I did Wellstone and Women Winning, and Emily's List did a great training. All those trainings help. But it's still not, it's not your campaign. It's just your upfront training. And when you still think you know a bunch, but you find out you know absolutely nothing, and you still need that whole team behind you, you know, all the way from, you know, March to November. And that's what these groups give. That's what Ireb gives. That's what, you know, Moms Demand Action or all the other groups, they give the manpower. And you guys know that because you've been out there and doing that, and in Jason's face and helping Angie. I mean, you know, I remember when Angie came down, it was election eve, and she had come down to Red Wing, then she had come to Lake City and Wabasha. She was going to stay the night and then come back up. And she made it very clear. Dakota County was 60% of her vote. Scott County was 20%. You know, she needed to win in Dakota County. And this is where you guys can really give yourselves a great pat on the back, because you guys helped her win that race up there, and all that manpower on top of the amazing team that she had. But that's really what helped push her over the edge.
Yeah, and I'm especially proud of our role in this election. One of the stories I like to tell is that every time I saw a picture of one of the candidates, you included, out there on the campaign trail knocking on doors, there was always a member of the Indivisible group in tow. And so I think, we had a lot of people out there that were working from their hearts. And honest to God, that this isn't something that just goes away after a single election cycle. This is something we'll build on, and we'll have power for generations if we do it right.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Well, thank you for coming on, Marcus and Lorianne. I think we've reached the end, and thank you both for being on today's episode.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're going to have you back again real soon. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Good night.